Hey guys, and today Shorty and I are going to do our grand final tip for 2014. So it is the Swans and the Hawks have emerged as the two best teams in the competition this year, and throughout the season, it's been shown that they are pretty much two of the best going around. So
Yeah.
you could probably say deserved. I don't know if deserved's a word, mate, but
Yeah, no, I think you're right there.
we'll roll with
They
deserved.
deserve their spot for
Yeah,
sure.
going by their form, but. Big game coming up. It's a real 50-50 or maybe a 55-45 with the tips. But who's going to win? By how much am I?
Yeah, I'm going Sydney by 11. They were pretty impressive against North Melbourne, weren't they?
Fantastic.
Where we saw a cracking match on Saturday where Port nearly pinched it, but not quite. But I'm going with Sydney. They were my pick for the flag in pre-season and that. And wavered at times early on the year on that one, but they have come through.
Definitely.
Like you said, it's a virtual 50-50, so it's hard to really say definitively why they're going to win. But it's the obvious, like we've said, is that midfield and their classy backline, and really the form Buddy Franklin is in is something that just is so dangerous. Like,
for sure,
he's a genuine match winner, like he was on Friday, and he could prove to be again. So it's going to be a massive match, a massive, battle of the two styles.
Sure, mate. Yeah, they play relatively similar sort of styles.
Yeah, they do, but both got those awesome forward lines. So it'll be, I think,
so many guns.
Yeah, I think it could be one about who utilises their forwards best, which obviously relies on the midfield getting on top. So
sort of. If you do well in all the areas, you're doing pretty well.
Obviously Sydney got them a couple of years ago in the grand final.
Yeah, the big day when they didn't expect that to happen. But
Sydney by 11.
Sounds good.
Is my tip, and how about you?
Well, I'm going to go with Sydney by 12 points, just one more than you, mate. So it's a big margin. So I just think Sydney's form has been a bit better than Hawthorn's now. It's pretty hard to categorise. How can you actually tell, whose form is better? But Sydney everything looks a little bit easier for them. And I guess when you put the two, together in a bit of an arena, you just never know what's going to happen. But I think Sydney they just look more dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially, I think the forward line. Well, I can't really say it's overrated because it gets the job done week in, week out.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you can have four big forwards. It never ever works for any other side except for Sydney. But the reason why it works for them is because they've had a bit of a look of how they go about it. They've been able to isolate their big forwards, and I remember in the game earlier this year, you didn't quite get to watch on. It was Geelong and Sydney, and how they isolated Tippett and Franklin, especially in the first quarter where most of the damage was done.
Yeah.
Well, damage was done the whole game. It was a terrible game, but the ability to isolate them and just give them a genuine one-on-one, they're going to win most days of the week, which gives them a first-hand go at it, and they've both got sensational midfielders, as we've mentioned.
Yeah.
Just the names of Jordan Lewis, who could be potentially in doubt. Not quite sure. Hodge, Mitchell, even Will Langford. He's just come out of the blocks and he's been sensational. He has an uncompromising look about him, but he's an absolute warrior. So
yeah, he does. Just on those tall forwards, obviously Franklin and Tippett are just outstanding, and they're going to have to shut them down. But you just wonder with Reid's injury and if he gets up sort of thing, and Goods hasn't been in outstanding form, you just wonder, could there be a liability potentially? Will Hawthorn look to exploit that with sort of a Suckling or a Birchall? You may well have to play on them, but might look to run off it as well.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought would have happened most days of the week with so many tall forwards.
You would think, but it just
never happens.
Hasn't been an actual talking point that's happened. So
no, that's right.
They're obviously doing something right. Well, they're doing a lot right, and that's one of them. So.
Looking at some of the vision of Sydney, they just use the ball so well. They just quickly transition, and their foot skills are just sensational. Probably as good as Hawthorn's, maybe even better. Not too sure, but can't make a call like that. So,
well, with the congestion that's in the game these days, run and spread is like the most important thing, and these two sides do it the best. Once they win it at clearance, whether it's a free kick or a handball out or whatever, they spread and run from that clearance area to forward is sensational.
Yeah, that's right. And Sydney are just sensational to getting that one or two handballs out to that player, sort of running alongside near the wing. And then it's just a free kick inside 50, and you've got plenty of time and space. And Yeah, no wonder the Fords get silver service with potentially the lack of pressure and the gut running from Sydney.
Yeah, and from a selection point of view, it's obviously Cyril Rioli. Will he play? I think they rested him for like the last quarter of the VFL Grand Final.
Reports are showing us,
And Sewell and McAvoy were pulled out, so that sort of suggests that they're well and truly in the frame, which would have been the case anyway. But it's interesting that they just pull them out.
It's
what's wrong with them getting another run under their belt?
Yeah, get a bit of match fitness into them and get them right for next week.
Yeah, so there's going to be some hard luck stories. I think Sydney's probably more settled. Obviously, Reid would be one, but I don't see them changing anything other than that they'd want to.
Yeah, definitely.
Where Hawthorn's a little more up and about, but intriguing.
It's going to be one of those games. Last time it was 10 points to margin. Hawthorn got over the line. It's so tough to tell. I mean, they said Sydney had more to gain out of the loss. And it's tough to really say. That has no impact on this result, though.
No,
that's the thing. So.
No, it doesn't now. I mean, they have been the clear two best sides, really. And while Hawthorn were challenged at the end, for the most part, they looked sensational, really. So
and
they were pretty impressive.
And Sydney did get up by about 4 goals at some point. I think they didn't kick straight or something along those lines. So
yeah.
I mean, just suggesting a bit of dominance there, and who knows? So it'll be a big match, that's for sure, as it always is on the grand final day. But
got a bit of a question for you though, mate.
What do you got for us?
2 players, one from each side.
Yep.
Who do you feel will have the biggest influence? Who is the game breaker from each side, do you feel?
It's a good question.
Well, it's without notice, but just off the top of your head, there's plenty of stars.
I reckon Jack Gunston is for Hawthorn. He obviously dominated grand final day last year, kicking 4 goals, and I couldn't believe, I guess, the first goal scorer and the most goals with the family, but your family rather. But just an absolute dead eye dick in front of the big sticks, and you just know he only needs a few opportunities to make a big impact. And Hawthorn kicking straight, against Port really helped them get across the line. Port very wasteful, so he straightens them up, and he's one of my favourite Hawks. So but I mean, there's so many players you could pick. Sean Burgoyne comes to mind. Luke Hodge is probably another one. Sam Mitchell, Jared Roughhead, so versatile. But maybe someone a bit left to centre. I guess you can't go the obvious ones. But
well, you often know that the stars often perform. Sometimes it's someone a little different that adds that extra X factor sort of thing, and
definitely
could be the difference.
Yeah, for Sydney, I'll have to have a bit of a think about this. I mean, the obvious answer could be Buddy Franklin, but he's won so many games this year. But I'll go with Buddy Franklin. I'm thinking Luke Parker. He's certainly up there as well. Yeah, maybe even Teddy Richards. But no, I'll go with Buddy Franklin. If he gets off the chain, he's so athletic, can kick goals, just turns the game in 5 minutes. Yeah, he can do it all, and I mean that's why they got him in. It was a good deal in the end for them. It looked a bit iffy at first, but
he's won so many games off his own brilliance. It's unbelievable.
And that's why I think he's sort of the barometer for Sydney. And I mean, there's a few other names that could come to mind, but I reckon Buddy Franklin, Jack Gunston, if they perform well, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely 2 forwards that'll need a fire and could be very telling if one of them gets off the chain.
Absolutely, mate. Well, I've gone with Sydney by 12 points.
Yep.
So that's my final tip. But
lock it in.
It's going to be very tough.
Yeah.
Grand final day. But
tough to split them.
Oh yeah. Well, that's our grand final tip for 2014. Gee, the end of the season already. It's just going so quick, and it always does, and quicker each year. So unbelievable. But feel free to comment who you think's going to win the grand final, by how much and why, if you feel like it. Don't forget to subscribe to us as well and like the video if you enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys all soon.